Well, good afternoon, everybody. Merchant Metals here. First of all, I want to thank everybody's comments from the last video. You know, I do like to hear everybody's insights on what your thoughts were on that. I appreciate y'all watching. I have some other plans to do today, like right here, right now. Okay. I got all these HID light fixtures with transformers. I want to line them all up on my workstation here, or as many as my workstation can hold, with keeping my vise and everything right there in that spot. I want to start processing them, tearing them down, getting the transformers out, and up on that workstation that is right there. And I want to process the transformers. I heard copper's doing good right now, and I kind of want to take advantage of that. So that's what we're going to do first. Is we're going to start getting these old lights up on this counter bench top, and we're going to start breaking them down. Get the transformers, process the transformers. After that part, what I think I want to do is I want to hop over and grab my demo saw and cut all the crowns off of these motors so I can run my puller right now too. Well, not right now, after the lights. And then after that, if we do have time, I want to come over here and take care of these light ballasts, these bigger ones that I've been setting to the side. There's good copper in a lot of these, so if I do get some good ones, I save them, you know. And there's some smaller transformers and stuff in there I'd like to process as well to add on to the number 2 copper and getting it out of here, so that will be great. So after we get these motors finished, the transformers finished, these ballasts and smaller transformers done, the yard's going to start looking pretty bare without scrap metal everywhere, and that's exactly what I was going for. So we do have that truckload of wires and stuff I never unloaded from the scrap yard after pulling out that tin shred. Some of you guys in the comments said, you know, why don't you just like bag up your non-ferrous and try to keep the steel and the non-ferrous separate. You know, I'll try my best to, for sure. When I had the truck and I pulled it alongside them dumpsters, it was just like instinctive feeling to just grab it and throw it right into the bed of the truck and not think about it at the time. Because when I'm out scrapping with a truck, I'm a lot slower and I have to get to my destinations as quickly as possible to try to cover as much area as I can, you know. And well, the car's a lot better at doing things like that, and along with grabbing the non-ferrous stuff, which takes less time to do. That's what makes me able to cover as much ground as I cover. That's one thing I did not mention in the video or the comments, I don't think, is that, you know, I have to go to a lot of spots to find the good ones. You know, I can't really even put a number on how many spots I'd like to visit throughout the night, but I don't think I can accomplish that with the truck without spending more in fuel too. But either way, yeah, I get it. You know, the truck, car, they both drink fuel, so I understand. But I got a lot of thinking to do on that end. But that was last video. This is now. We want to take care of these lights, pull the transformers, process the transformers, come down here, cut the crowns off these motors with the demo saw, get them prepped and ready for the wire puller, the motor winding puller right there. And then I want to hop over and finish what's left in this bucket that we talked about. That's my game plan. That's what we're doing. I'm going to jump over here and start throwing these lights up on the bench.
Well, let me tell you a little something about me. Well, it's Saturday night, I need to blow off some steam. 1, 2, 3, 4! Well, I've been rolling in since the clock came Monday morning. From the end of the week, I'm about to blow. Breeze walking through the honky tonk like a pack of wolves now. Order up around the drops and that's the way we go.
Okay, I made a little bit of room so we can work on one light fixture right here, just to kind of show you guys an idea of how I go about taking them apart. First, I try to line up as many of them as I can possible on this bench, facing them all the same exact way, so to speak. See how the ends of these are all facing me? That's kind of how I like doing it. So basically what you can do, instead of like an assembly line, you're going to do a disassembly line. You got your two drivers that you need, two different drills. You can basically work on and get to all of the screws that unfasten everything from one specific angle, I guess you could say. We're going to open up this right here and kind of show you guys what we do with them. This outer shell is usually cast aluminum. Sometimes they are tin shred. Those are the old metal style ones. I don't know, I don't have any of those to show you as an example, but let's get right into opening this. See, I got this facing right side up, and you can almost see every bolt and screw that's fastening this thing together. That's a good start if you got them all facing that way, that same direction. Okay, I'm just going to grab my driver and start unfastening screws, really. A long extension bit, an adapter, sometimes pretty useful for these. This is a General Electric version. I don't really run into too many of them really too often. Not that brand per se, but we have them. That's cool. I think we're gonna have a lot of good transformers in these, and I don't know if they've been serviced or not. We're about to find out. By that I mean if there's like a replacement transformer inside, and usually those consist of having aluminum windings. Those are the ones that I wouldn't process. I would just pull the heart out of this and then throw it right into transformers. If they check them, it might be breakage, you know. So yeah. In this case, you can almost tell right away that this is all the original wiring to this piece, right? By popping it open like that, you can get to each transformer, and if you have them set up on a bench all ready to work on, you can zip through these like crazy. I got videos of that in, you know, about, I'd probably say 6 to 8 months ago. If you look into those videos, you'll see this. You'll see me working on them anyway. That's not a very good pair of snips. Is this one? Yeah. You got yourself a nice transformer right there. That'll be ready to go right into that press up there. This one looks a little bit taller than the ones I usually work with, but I can almost tell by the weight and just feeling this is that it's going to be copper for sure. Aluminum copper transformers or straight up aluminum transformers, you can feel a big weight difference if you hold a double copper and, like, say a double aluminum in your hand. You can feel a big weight difference. It's because there is. Yeah. Piece of sheet aluminum, I'll save it for sure. There's just a few things holding wires and capacitors down. That's what I just took apart on there. Okay, you got yourself some wires. You have to snip that green ground wire right there, or unfasten it, whichever way you prefer. I prefer just snipping it sometimes. So what you'll get is a fistful of wires, right? I'm going to throw them all dirty just right into this bucket over here. Because most of the time what I'm doing is I'm trying to tear these apart, okay? Separate the cast aluminum from wires, pull the transformer, and repeat. That's this process. So all those dirty wires and stuff that come out of here, I'm going to throw it right into that bucket. Maybe even this piece of aluminum to just to simplify things, because I'm going to be working on each side of the bench. I don't have room for bags to get lined up. That's whatever. This capacitor, it's going to go right into that bucket. And that's to speed things up and keep your work area clean. You got a piece of tin shred, well, I got a bucket for that as well right there. But as far as the wires and capacitors and the sheet aluminum that sometimes comes out of the inside of these, I'm going to throw it all in one bucket. Because right now, I want to get these out and process them. You're going to want to take this off too, because that's tin shred right there. There's like a little brass piece where that light socket goes. Breakage. There. Get it out of the way. Saw your cast aluminum. You might want to take that off of there, right? You can probably negotiate that with a pair of pliers. Just unhook that tin shred off of there. And you got some cast aluminum right here, see? Yeah. And I'll throw that in bags. I'll bag that. So there is some obstacles to walk around, such as that wire basket right there with the capacitors and sheet aluminum, and then you got this bag right here with the cast aluminum in it. Got that tin shred bucket on the end, but those are the 3 only baskets I'm going to really use to tear these apart with, and not oversimplify things so I can take these apart fast. That's my game plan. You know, that's usually how I go about doing them. Because my main focus is this right here. We're going to process this up on the station, but we got to do what I just showed you 30 times. Okay? And that, my friends, is going to be a time-lapse. 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 Did you hear me? I said time-lapse. That's going to be me moving fast, taking this apart. Because me showing you this one time should be efficient enough. And talking through it as I go. So, yeah, time-lapse. We usually leave the screws on the bench. Right here. For later, and then I grab the magnet, swoop it up, done. Okay, hey, this one's got a transformer on it right there. Look at that. I don't think that's the one they use to light up the ballast with, right? You know which one this probably is? You know which one this probably is right here? Is that this transformer lights up this pre-igniter that this one has. Usually when they have pre-igniters on there, they are used outside, and it helps light up the system, or helps heat up the system before the actual transformer starts up and the light turns on. It's like a preheat, oven preheat, but not an oven. Okay. Yeah, time lapse. Alrighty, we are going to continue. I figured I'd do a little bit of raw footage on taking these apart down the line. And we're leaving off right here. Unfasten all the screws that you see. That sounds weird. Huh. What the heck is that? Oh. Yeah, it's got a hole in the exhaust. I'm gonna grab this other driver and hit other screws that that are a different size, pretty much. And like sometimes I'll miss one or two here and there, like this one. Some of these have different hardware. That's why I'm switching switching drivers anyway. Alrighty, sweet. My next step is to get rid of cast aluminum. And what other wires and crap are in my way. And that's all going in that bucket, right? Right there. Yeah. Cast aluminum. Got yourself a transformer. Cast aluminum. Wire. Capacitor wire. Same bucket. See, and that's what I'll do. I'm getting rid of cast aluminum and what other wires fall off, and then I'm going to have this top side and this transformer right here. I'm going to kind of try to line them all up so I can take my big snips and just chop it all up, pretty much. Got the top side and the transformers right there. I'm making everything else accessible to work on for the next step. If you take these apart one at a time, it's going to take you a lot longer. I can tell you that. So that's why we set them up like this. I know I'll probably hear that in the comments a little bit about those light sockets being brass. I know they are. I know they are. I'm asking you to ask yourself one question. Okay. Would a scrapyard process that for themselves, for profit? Would they go to that extent and length to pull a brass light socket for scrap metal? And if they don't, or if you agree with that, ask yourself why. Why do they not do it, right? Why didn't they go after that little piece of brass? And then ask yourself the same question again. Oops. Would you look at that? There's more bees. So what I can say is the other day I found that bee colony over there by that rhubarb. They were trying to restart, and they were hatching more baby frickin' bees, you know, and there was a good bit of them. So I just said the heck with it, I'm tired of messing with them. I took the weed whacker and whipped it all down, because they're living in the rhubarb. They're making a home out of their food, which is probably the source of that that sweet rhubarb, bittersweet rhubarb taste. They're probably eating it, thriving. I can't have that over here. So yeah, they've been coming over the fence and messing with me every now and then, because, well, I evicted them. Yeah, we did that, you know. They don't need to be here. But anyways, now that we've got to this point, I'm going to take my driver again, and I'm going to start taking out capacitors, sheet aluminum, little boards. It's all going to be a 1/4 inch bit, and I'm using an 8mm. Those seem to be working right now. Yeah. Free up more cast aluminum and then cut some wires. Yeah, that's gonna be a good camera angle. I was looking at the camera on my head, just making sure. Okay. Every now and then, some of these have different bit sizes, like 1/4 inch. Uh-oh. Looks like my bit flew off the end. I gotta find that. Couldn't have gone far. There it is. Gotcha. Alright, I think we're ready to start bagging up more aluminum. Cleaning up the table some more. Clip all these wires. Oop, that's not cast aluminum. Where's my bag for that? Did I fill it? I filled up another bag of it. Okay. I'll grab another bag. We shall have some cast aluminum to turn in. For sure. Okay, that's a little too much excessive steel right there. I will have to do something with that one. I don't know why it has that on there, but... So we'll do something about this. I'd like to think it comes off easy somehow, but I don't know. I've had troubles with getting this stuff apart. And when I have troubles, I move on. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't bother me. It's okay. Alright. Now how do you want to go about releasing this thing? Sure there's some special way to do it. Let's grab this. Well, I'm just breaking the cast off with it. All right. Cool. So now, let's delete all the wires off the transformers. Separate them. All right, got more transformers. We've been tossing them in these buckets right here, and then we're gonna lift them up onto the table. A bucket of transformers can be quite heavy, so I use the crane for that. Yep, sure do. So it's not so bad when you do lifts, when you lift them. Just lift a bucket at a time. And pour them out. As long as the bucket doesn't crack or break, should be okay. Whew. That's some really good weight right there. Fill up a couple more buckets. I wish. I think we only got one bucket worth left. I got three more of these to disassemble. Basically the same thing, just a different color. Same concept.
I worked so long in construction that I forgot I had a dream. Didn't know where I was going, didn't like where I had been. So one day I gave it all up when my eyes were open wide. I packed my life into my truck with Mason Boy by my side. I kept driving, but I had to make ends meet. I started thriving by scrapping industry, dumpster diving, street scrapping throughout America. From Michigan to Ohio, down to Florida. Merchant metals, recycle, don't destroy. Merchant metals and my dog Mason Boy. Merchant metals, thank you for stopping by. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up and say hi. Myself a trailer, so when I'm on the road, I have a rolling workshop and can scrap a heavy load. When it feels like life is hard, I know just what to do. I hit the road and recycle scrap and make my dreams come true. I kept driving, but I had to make ends meet. I started thriving by scrapping in the street, dumpster diving, street scrapping throughout America. Michigan to Ohio, down to Florida. Merchant metals, recycle, don't destroy. Merchant metals, my dog Mason boy. Merchant metals, thank you for stopping by. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up and say hi. Merchant metals, recycle, don't destroy. Merchant metals, and my dog Mason boy. Merchant metals, thank you for stopping by. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up and say hi.